Fanatics. Welcome back to the official return of Sports Fanatics United, where we are back and better than ever. As always, I'm your host, Eric. I'm excited to be reunited with my incredible co-hosts. We got the brilliant Barber, the keen-eyed Keith, and the ever-insightful Jerry. How's it going?
You decided to give us nicknames this time.
I know. That was special.
Interesting, to say the least.
Look, I'm trying to be nice here, okay? All right. For tonight's episode, we're going to recap Super Bowl 59, or as we like to call it around here, Super Bowl LIX.
I don't know who we is, but
Hey, look, that last episode, you were right there with me calling the Super Bowl LIX lady, so you can't say nothing. But we're also going to get the intakes on the winning and losing sides, as well as the aspects of building a championship team in the NFL. To help us celebrate our triumphant comeback, we've got two fantastic guests representing the teams tonight. We've got Logan Hillbrant, and we've got Brad Ryan. How's it going, guys?
How's it going? Go Birds.
I figured I'd let Brad say hey first. He's got the right, but what's up, y'all?
All right, as we always like to do, when we have a guest on for the first time, we like to get your teams and just give us a little bit of what got you passionate about sports. I guess, Brad, since you're the champ, you go first.
All right. So, if you couldn't tell by that introduction, I'm Philadelphia, everything, right outside the area, born and raised. So, I mean, besides the recent run for the Birds, it's been, a tough, almost 4 decades of fandom in the Philadelphia area. We don't seem to win too often. But just growing up in this area, man, I do everything. Played sports growing up. But yeah, Birds are number one in this area. They always will be. So it's been great these last 8 years. We got 3 Super Bowl trips, 2 wins. So yeah, it's just been awesome, and it was fun just to get the kids involved this time around too. So yeah, that's about it. Just living in the area.
That's amazing, man. How about you, Logan?
Yeah, man. Big Auburn fan, being from Alabama. We don't really have any pro teams in the state, so my sports fandom, professional wise, is weird. Chiefs fan. My dad's from the west side of Missouri, so I just grew up since I was a little kid, and then a Mavericks fan because Derek, who needs another reason. But yeah, just happy to be here and talk to y'all. So yeah.
As a Mavericks fan, I am sorry for you, man.
yeah, I was just going to say, can we also get the opinion on the trade for that?
I have crashed out for 2.5 weeks now, and I'm
first the trade and then the Chiefs. That sucks.
well, and like even on the MMA aspect of it, I'm a big Israel Adesanya fan, and to see him just get knocked out right there before it,
yeah, you might need to choose some new fandom.
It's been tough, and the Mavericks is difficult because like I was a Mavericks fan before Luka, but to trade the franchise away for the same thing you're getting back in Anthony Davis, if not a worse product. Like AD is a generational talent, obviously, but he's had in shape issues and health issues throughout his career. Like it's not anything surprising, and to say that's what our worry is with Luka, to trade that away for Anthony Davis is just has to be one of the worst trades ever, no matter how they spin it.
Yep.
I mean, at least you have a reason to be mad at your trade, and you're not mad just to be mad like some Bull fans,
Yeah, that's true. And now the kicking the fans out of the stadium for voicing their opinion is super icky to me. And so I'm struggling with, do I stay a Mavs fan, or I don't know if y'all know who Chris Wesseling is. He passed away 3 or 4 years ago now, an amazing NFL journalist, but he was a Bengals fan, and he went through his whole life dealing with the Bengals franchise, and he wrote out like a 12-page manifest on why he was divorcing from the Bengals was the only way he could do it. And I'm almost there with the Mavericks.
But if you like this right now, I am writing a YouTube series on why I am divorcing from the Dallas Cowboys. So I know how he feels exactly right now.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I come from classic mismanagement. I mean, the Sixers lose on purpose for 4 years just to, never make it past second round. So
yeah, that's tough.
You still trusting that process, Brad?
Yeah, I never trusted that.
And well, we're ecstatic to have you both on. So let's get into it with a quick recap of the game now. Super Bowl 59, Super Bowl LIX. Final score was 40-22, but at one point, it was bad. It's 34-0 Philly. Brad, since your team won, let's start with you. What went right for Philly?
So I guess the easy answer right away was pretty obvious. Everybody is the trenches on both sides of the ball, man. There's a picture out there for the offensive line. It's a great picture of Jalen. He's standing right in the middle of the Super Bowl logo, and there's no Chief within 10 yards of him. He had all day to go through his progressions, decide who he was going to throw the ball to. If it wasn't there, he could tuck it and run, and he's got the speed to do that. Then more impressive was the other side, the D-line. I mean, get 6 sacks. They had pressure on Patrick. They had pressure on Mahomes the whole game, and they didn't blitz a single time. So they were just able to drop back in the pass coverage, sit there, do their thing, and they just, the trenches just won the game for them. And then the skilled players showed up when you expect your high money skilled players to show up. But yeah, it was awesome. Just in terms of that, just offensive, defensive line play.
Man, especially that stat where I saw, that Philly got home with no extra blitzes whatsoever. And to come in and just dominate the trenches like that. I mean, you look at the final score now, you see 40-22. If you watch the game, you're like, looks like it was close for a little bit, but then Philly pulled away. No.
It was crazy. Like the fact that watching the game, just seeing the D line just get home over and over and over again. I mean, Josh Sweat had a huge game, which unfortunately got himself a big payday, and we might lose him now. But yeah, it was just great. Like, because anybody knows you blitz Mahomes, he tears you apart usually. So the fact they were able to get home without having to send extra guys made a huge difference for us on defense.
Keith, what's your thoughts? What went right for Philly in your opinion?
Interesting to call on me, seeing as
Literally.
I'm probably the one person in this entire
Well, for sure in this group.
Yeah, I'm for sure the one person in this group who actually did not watch the game at all. Didn't watch a snap. But I mean, I've obviously seen stuff, and obviously I saw the final score. I mean, it is unexpected that Philly consistently got home. I did see that they didn't blitz at all. They sent some linebackers every now and again, but they had defensive linemen back out in the coverage, so it wasn't technically a blitz. They never sent more than 4 people to Patrick, which is interesting to get 6 sacks and basically dominate that game from start to finish. And yeah, like that final score looks close, but I mean, it was like 27-0 or something at half. The game was over like a long time ago, and even before the halftime show. So anybody that stuck around watched the halftime show, and then I think like 1 million people after that dipped. So it's not too surprising that it didn't really go well near the end, and the Chiefs just got basically some garbage points to make it sort of look close.
Into the third quarter for me, but at that point, I'm a glutton for punishment to a certain point, but even that was too much punishment for me. I guess, Logan, now I'll come over to you, and I'll ask, where did things go wrong for the Chiefs?
I mean, honestly, as a Chiefs fan watching every game and, being a little bit less on the side of the Chiefs fatigue, as they say, it was pretty clear all year that our offense and defensive line was kind of worries. We didn't really know how bad the offensive line was going to be until we saw it in action during the game. We was kind of worried out the gate just from, if you got Joe Tooney at tackle, that's already an issue. One of the best offensive guards I think has ever played. You move him out to the left or right tackle, you're not doing great. And I think Philly just proved to be the better team of the trenches. I mean, they didn't send any blitzes, but they had a bunch of disguised pressures. And the youth that we had filling in on the line, and then just the unathleticism from the rest of it proved to be terrible for Mahomes and company.
Jerry, what are your thoughts?
I mean, outside of what's already been said, the Chiefs just flat out got out coached on the offensive side of the ball compared to the Eagles defense. Like, at the end of the day, that's where it comes up to. Spagnuolo did everything he could to have his guys prepared. At some point, he was going to run out. The offense can't move the ball, and Andy's game plan was just atrocious. There's nothing you can do about it when the offensive game plan is that atrocious. When your tackles are getting bulldozed, you're having them set up vertically, and you aren't going to adjust that. You aren't going to try to move the pocket at all. Because the one drive in the first half where they moved the ball, they were rolling the pocket, and it's like, maybe you should do more of that. Nah, we're fine. So yeah, Andy just got flat out coached by Vic Fangio at the end of the day.
I feel like a part that's going unsaid as much is the fact that 2 years ago, Philly remembers having that game in their hands at halftime and Kansas City coming back. And Philly was just motivated, man. You could just tell from when the game started, especially when they hit on that first 4th down, they got called back, which, started a complaint. So once again, refs on that side again. But I mean, just from that point on, it was like Philly was they were determined. They were not going to lose this game twice to Kansas City. And being down that it's the first time ever that if you have a rematch in the Super Bowl, same head coach, same quarterback, that the other team now wins it, because beforehand, in the other instances, it was just a repeat of what happened the first time. Logan, I'll ask you, as a Chiefs fan, what are your thoughts? How you feeling about that loss, man?
Oh, I told everybody that checked in on me after the loss was I handled the 2000s of being a Chiefs fan. I can handle another rough Super Bowl loss. It is tough being so close to a three-peat, but now it's so far away. I mean, 3 years minimum, and it's crazy to think that we could do that again. But we have Mahomes. He's still not 30, not even 30 yet. I mean, you can't be too sad as a Chiefs fan. We have to retool this offseason. The offensive line will be addressed in the draft, I believe. Brett Veach has shown before he can do it. Trey Smith will probably walk, and, hopefully we just retool that offensive line, and I'll be happy.
Same sentiments for you, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to fix the offensive line through the draft after 2 failed picks at left tackle. I think they're going to try to get a proven free agent left tackle. Ideally, you can sign like a Larry Jackson or something like that in free agency and then move on to the draft and use that for skill position players because there's going to be some good wide receivers available at 31, it looks like. There's going to be some good defensive linemen available at 31, it looks like. You ideally don't want to use that on a tackle who historically tackles that get taken in the back half of the first round aren't very good as rookies. I'd rather not run that back with another young left tackle next year.
And Brad, I'll come to you. What are your feelings of Philly winning that second Super Bowl, man?
I mean, as you obviously would expect, it was awesome. I mean, we like I said, I'm 38. It's only our second one that we've won in my lifetime. And I'll just like compare it to 2018 when we won. That one kind of like almost felt unreal because it had never happened. So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it actually happened. We finally won one. People what excuse are they going to use now to talk dirt on us now because, we have one now. This one was more of like a celebration. I mean, we had like 35 people over the house. Some of my son's hockey friends are over the house. So a bunch of kids running around. And then once you said like the score got so out of hand, when it was 34-0, we just started partying. The game was over. Like as soon as they hit that deep ball to Devontae Smith, the game was over. So we just started celebrating and partying. And it was just exactly that. It was just a party this time. Low stress, low blood pressure. Just, wow. It's not a fluke anymore. The first one, fluke, lightning in a bottle, backup quarterback. This time, hey man, second time in 3 years we've been there. We beat the team that beat us last time, so we're here to stay and we're moving forward. We're actually a top team, and so we hopefully can see some more moving forward. So it was awesome.
I would like that feeling as an adult of how it feels to be a fan of a championship winning team. But so I'm jealous right now. Okay, I'm salty. I am jealous. I am all those words.
It's okay. Hey, maybe a good team will sign you in for agency.
Yeah, who knows? I hope so.
At least you're still America's team, though, right?
Did you say you had 35 people in your home?
Yes, we did. So that was my wife. She said, hey, what do you think about having a Super Bowl party? And I said, oh, we can talk about it. And the next morning I woke up and there was an invite sent out on Facebook about having a Super Bowl party.
No.
So
no.
And it just and one day we just went through the list. I'm like, hey, you keep talking about all this food. Let's go over who's going to be here. And we went down the list. I'm like, it's like 30 people, right? She kind of paused. I'm like, we're going to need a lot more food, aren't we? So I had my TV in my living room, my TV in my lower level room. I had somebody bring over a TV that I set up in the kitchen. I had somebody bring over a TV that I put out on my porch. That way when people were wandering around the house, they could see it in multiple places around the house. But yeah, it was throughout the point, it was like 35 people in the house at one point.
I don't ever want to be in a place with 35 people.
Literally that close together. No, thank you.
No.
I had a picture on the couch. I had took one of my kids' pieces of paper and green highlighter and put Brad's spot on the couch so nobody would sit in my spot in front of the TV.
Nice.
Yeah, no. I graduated with like 50 people, and that was too many. So no, yeah. 35, no.
How small was your class? How small where you lived in?
Extremely small.
I live in a small rural area. We still had at least over 100. Well, actually, I'll take that back. We probably had about 85, 90 people in the graduating class, and I thought we were small.
No,
I had 1,300 in my graduating
like
class.
50, I want to say, if I remember correctly. I know it was not 80.
And I'm from Alabama. We had 104, and we're like not a big school, so that's crazy.
My school had 1,300 in my graduating class.
No, not a chance.
Yeah, I feel like my school had like 350.
Yeah, 1,300 people graduated in this area, and we'd have to have graduation for a week.
Yeah, no, it would take forever.
A through D, you coming on Monday. E through F, you coming on Tuesday.
Yeah. We also have like 15 high schools here, so.
Oh, we only got one.
Yeah, no, the area I was in had a few, but it was a super small town too.
Right.
But to go back to what you said, Brad, once your wife asked you, what did you think about having a Super Bowl party? That wasn't a question.
Oh,
No,
I mean,
not
you
at
was-
all.
your head
He
was
knows
up.
that.
I knew
He knows that by now.
I mean, I know
If
that.
he's
but at the same
married,
time, I
he
wasn't
knows
expecting
that.
to wake up that quick. I was like, dang, she got moving quick, didn't she?
Yep.
She was
Invited
motivated.
He's a
all.
planner. I like it.
She's like, man,
I like
this is
the idea. I do not like the execution. I like the idea, yes.
Well, I mean, when they won in 2018, we had a nice party. We had like 10. We had like 10, 11 people over, and that was
See, now
fine. That was fun.
that's perfect.
That was fun. I mean, my poor, I'm lucky my child's still alive, but because he was only 10 months old when that happened,
Oh.
and you know, I'd had a few at the time when the game was over with, when that Hail Mary hit the ground from Brady, and as I mentioned earlier about it being the first, I drunkenly grabbed him in the air, started shaking him and going, "You'll never have to hear you don't have a Super Bowl. You'll never
My
have to hear you
God.
haven't won one."
That's great.
man. Oh, that is awesome, though. But all right, let me ask you all this now. And I'll start with you, Jerry. The Chiefs return to the Super Bowl next season if what happens?
They fix their issues in the trenches.
That's it, just the trenches.
Yep. That's where they need to fix it.
You know, you sure that bringing Clyde Edwards-Helaire back wouldn't help?
He's already signed with the Saints for next year. We don't got to worry about that.
Please don't start this. Please don't.
Jeez.
That man has a contract with another team.
Oh, Bill.
So I don't have to worry about him coming back.
That don't mean nothing. There's such a thing called trades, you know.
God, if
There's
they give us a
all-season
pick for
cuts.
him,
Oh my God! Imagine.
Just go ahead and send him and the honey badger back over.
Oh, man. What about you, Logan? Kansas City returns next year if what happens?
Pretty much what Jerry said. Fixing the trenches. I really would like to re-sign Nick Bolton. I'm not very hopeful of that, but he's a huge beast to what the defense has been. And I mean, receiver, like Jerry said, that first round pick looks like it. I would imagine it's going to be a receiver. Mostly the trenches is my biggest worry. Everything else I can be okay with going into the season, but don't add anything to the offensive or defensive line and try to sell me on a Super Bowl because, you know, Mahomes is only a man.
He's only a man?
Let that be. Let that be.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, till next season.
I've heard people, that just Mahomes is just this mythological creature, whatnot, this mythological figure. Keith, what do you think? Do you agree with them, or is there something else you feel like Kansas City needs to do to return to the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't think they return next year. They will at some point before Mahomes leaves / retires. If they were to return next year, I think they would obviously start off. They would need more OL help for sure. I'd consistent left tackle no matter what. I do think that they would need to get at least one receiver, especially since I don't know if the Rashee Rice stuff has been all figured out or not. So yeah, that, and then defense-wise, they definitely need more linebacker depth because I do think, like Logan said, I think Nick Bolton's going to leave because I think they're going to use their money for Trey Smith. But
I really
They
hope
better
not.
not.
I think they're going to. I mean,
I don't think they will. It's flew under the radar outside of Chiefs Kingdom, so to say, but Trey Smith is very, very up and down. And I love Trey Smith. He's from just like 2 or 3 hours north of here. I do not want to see him get a big contract from us. Let the Commanders or somebody like that give him that.
Let the Commanders.
I mean, I don't blame you for it. Like, I'm not saying they per se should, but it's difficult to watch the Eagles basically destroy you with 4 rushers every play and then let your best guard go.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
not gonna say your best lineman, but I will say your best, at least for sure, your best young guard go.
That's kind of what I was talking about with the draft earlier, more so than the left tackle. I do think we'll sign somebody there. Veach has been really good at finding interior linemen in the 4th and 5th round and on, and I think we probably grab a couple on the last few days of the draft this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that they're also going to draft at least 2 offensive linemen, if not 3. I just don't know if there's a lot that are ready to play immediately because, like, they got, what was it, Silmar Taia last year, correct? And
Yes, I think
He
you
didn't
pronounced
play
his
like-
name correctly too, which good job.
Yeah, nailed
Thank
that,
you.
actually, I
Thank
think.
you. Thank you. And I mean, obviously, like, he's gonna be better, but like as a rookie, he obviously didn't have as much of an impact as you would hope for a team that obviously needed lineman help whenever you have to kick your all-pro guard out to left tackle and hope for the best. And then your right tackle, I don't want to speak on your right tackle.
Yeah, I think the whole country speaks on him every week. And
Yeah,
I don't
so I was like,
disagree.
I'm not going to pile along to your right tackle. Yeah, I think that's what they need is if they're going to go back, they got to get better linemen or at least better lineman depth and then have to improve their linebacking core because I do think Bolton's gone no matter what.
Oh, man, you might not want to pile into the right tackle, but defensive line sure do.
Yeah.
Barb, yeah, anything different that you had to add, or you basically agree with what's been said?
I agree with what's been said, but they're not going back next year. I stand firm on that, no matter what they do.
I don't necessarily disagree with them not making it next year.
I did hear that and obviously people report all types of ridiculous stuff. So this has a solid testimony being true. That supposedly some of them are like tired of going to Super Bowls and stuff like that.
Oh my God. Okay,
I mean,
divas.
like I said, I'm not reporting it as true or anything of the nature. It's just something that I saw and sort of basically laughed at. Like I laughed at the AJ Brown thing where he was like, "Oh well, I thought I'd feel happier."
Yeah, what a
after
silly
winning
thing
an AJ Brown, but
to
well,
try and
after winning a
pass
Super
off.
Bowl, but now I just sort of feel the same.
You gotta love the entertainment the internet gives you, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
We're tired of going to the Super Bowl, so next year we're going to intentionally just blow the season, even though we have an opportunity. Oh man, that's wild. Brad, I know you're the Eagles fan, but what do you think? Is there anything different that you feel like the Chiefs need to do to get back next year, or what?
I mean, not anything that's not been said already. I mean, as everybody said, their line play wasn't that great. I mean, you have Mahomes. You have Mahomes, you have Andy Reid, so they'll always find a way to do something positive on the offensive side of the ball. You got that running back there that runs like he's angry at the ground all the time, the way he stomps his feet around.
Oh, I love Pacheco. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just got to build their lines back up. And I don't know enough about them and about what they have coming for the offseason to really comment too much on it.
I'll tell you one thing. Kansas City returns next year. If Buffalo continues to help them return, especially like with the draft and the AFC Championship game, it's like Buffalo almost just wanted them to go back to the Super Bowl. No, we're not ready to go yet. And also, Kansas City return if Baltimore decides they don't want to go find Lamar, a wide receiver one.
Yeah, really. He needs help down there. And they need to get him a true one down there.
But other than that, though, I kind of have a sentiment too of Kansas City. It's just that feeling you have, their time has passed. At least for next year, somebody else is supposed to be able to take it. And Jerry, I want to go back onto a comment you said in the past of how last year it was a down year for Kansas City and they won. So this year, when on paper they were supposed to have the better roster and they didn't come through this year,
I guess beat everybody in the AFC that counted.
Besides, that Denver game, they gave a shit. They said, you know what?
They did not care.
We are not wasting any plays or points. Next year, is it going to be more of a retooling year or reloading year? I'll ask.
I think as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, it's got to be retooling. You don't have time to rebuild. You just got to go out. You got to fix the team what you can, and then you got to let Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes and let him go be great and stop getting in his way.
All right, let's flip the other side of that coin, literally. Go to the Eagles now. And Brad, the Eagles get back to the Super Bowl next year if what?
So, I mean, number one, they're going to need help on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you got Sweat and Milton that are free agents, and you're likely losing at least one, if not both of them. You need to re-sign Ballin with the way that animal played this year on a next to nothing sign-in. On the flip side of the coin, man, every single player on the starting offense is coming back. We're not losing a single starter on the offensive side of the ball. They're all going to be back. You just have to put the right offensive coordinator in there with losing Kellen. So you have to find another coordinator in there to come in and kind of piggyback off your AJ Brown thing. The team has to stay hungry. So, sometimes the great teams go back and are great because they can go back year after year. I don't think this will be a problem with this Eagles team. They don't seem like the group of people that would kind of say, cool, we got there. We're good. We won. But there's always that fear going into next year. And anybody that's looked, our schedule's rough next year. With they got a pretty rough schedule, so it's gonna be tough to put up a lot of wins. But they just need to stay hungry and make sure they keep that pass rush on the defensive side going.
I can tell you 2 easy wins they got next year.
Don't talk about the Giants like that, Eric.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't the Cowboys right up there with the Eagles?
Oh, we're not going. No, I'm a peak here. We are not going into that. We are not going.
I'm not gonna ruin
I mean,
their man's
according to
Saturday
I
night
mean,
like this.
according to Dak and Micah, if you just take away all the big plays the Eagles get, all the scores they scored, the
Exactly.
game's
They're
usually pretty
basically the
close.
same team.
Nah, I mean, it could have been Dallas that was, hoisting a championship this year.
I'm crazy, but I don't hate the head coach hire. I mean, he almost had a shot almost a decade ago, and I think he might have a little chip on his shoulder, and he knows the facility. I know it's crazy, but I mean, it just might. I don't know. I don't want to say it would work on record, but I don't hate it. I'm intrigued by it, actually.
I don't have enough alcohol here to talk about Brian Schottenheimer tonight.
I'm trying not to ruin that man's Saturday night. Like,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I completely
Come on.
get it. But also, crazy things happen sometimes.
I don't think they'll be as bad, but to the Eagles' point of the question,
Yeah.
there's another team that I don't think gets back. I don't think either team gets back to the Super Bowl next year. I think they do at some point. But for the Eagles to get back, honestly, like the only thing they really need to do is, like Brad says, stay hungry. Because like they have the roster. Howie knows how to work the cap and find enough players that make plays to get them where they need to go. And yeah, they're probably going to lose Josh Sweat. They're probably going to lose a couple like Nick Bond, maybe some others. But they're going to find a way to either draft somebody that works out really well or sign somebody for cheap that goes on to play at an almost all-pro type level.
In case it hasn't been noted in this episode so far, I am salty, okay? So I am throwing salty comments left and right. Jerry, I'll come to you. Anything different you think that's already been stated that the Eagles need to do to get back next year?
I think they need to get their Zach Bond-esque signing at edge because they're going to lose Josh Sweat. They're probably going to lose Milton Williams. Realistically, I don't know if they're going to pay Zach Bond. I get that he was good this year, but I'm not sure they're going to pay him.
Well, I kind of see that too because historically, Howie doesn't pay linebackers. So he doesn't pay linebackers historically, but I just don't know. But because you're losing those other two guys, so hopefully they do something. It would hurt to lose all three of them. That'd be tough.
Would, but it was also Zach Bond's first year out. Off-ball linebacker that he's played in the NFL. Is he really going to keep up at all-pro level the rest of his career to make it worth the contract? That'll be the big question how he has going into the offseason, whether he keeps him or not. But they need to get somebody that is very under the radar that can come in and be a very good edge for them to replace Josh Sweat for a fraction of the cost.
Time to trade 3 firsts for Abdul Carter.
Oh, God.
I'll come in and replace him for a fraction of the cost. Trust me. Give me $250,000. That's all you got to give me. $250,000 and just get me to and from Philly. I'll do it. I'll do it.
We'll live that far.
Exactly. It's not going to cost you that much.
You got to show up to practice every day too?
We're talking about practice?
Practice.
It's talking about practice too. It's talking about practice too.
Look,
we got to see the hunger.
You just said you need a warm body.
I got to see the hunger.
No, you'll see the hunger. Let me get to the cafeteria. I'll show you some hunger.
And I do have to circle back. I did say one incorrect thing about the offense. Becton's in a contract year on the offensive line. He might be the only potential offensive starter you're losing. But
but this is also his first even remotely good year as well. And they had to move him off a tackle for that to happen.
Right, they had to move back to guard for him to be productive.
Yeah.
Logan, anything you want to add?
Most of it's all covered. The only thing I'd say is maybe the chemistry of the team. We saw the year before how volatile it became with Big Dom and Nick Sirianni, but they're really good at playing all these personalities off of each other and creating the product we saw on the field this year. I'm actually a big Nick Sirianni fan just because he's out of the norm and he's wild, kind of like the city of Philly is and the fans. So I'm not really worried about it, but it just seems like a small bickering could create real issues in Philadelphia.
Anything you want to add, Barb?
No, I think they've all covered it very well.
I will say this. The Eagles return next year if the Dallas Cowboys keep doing what they do. They do what they do so well, which is once that calendar turns January,
you're insane.
They don't matter anymore. We don't care what Dallas does because you know why? That last game of the season, what's that letter going right beside their name? L. Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
If you ask Jerry Jones, it'll be one of the letters that symbolize they made the playoffs.
Oh, man. Yeah. They might make the playoffs by luck. But then at the end, you're going to get that first letter of the Super Bowl next year. L.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to find their way into the playoffs either.
But in all seriousness, though, Philly, you've got San Francisco that was in a down year. I don't expect San Francisco to have another down year like they did this year. And they They still win what 6-11, 7-10, something like that. I mean, you got the Rams coming back. You got teams like Green Bay, Detroit. Hopefully, they're planning to make some noise as well. So that NFC, it's not going to be easy. And to Keith's point, both sides. I mean, just to get to a Super Bowl is tough anyway. To get back to a Super Bowl is even tougher. And what Kansas City has done with the stretch they've done, can you imagine how tough that would be for another team to come in and try to duplicate that? So we go from the actual what happened in between the lines to the fans of the game, where after the NFC and AFC championship games, if you went online, you saw how many people sat there and they said, I am not going to watch the Super Bowl. But Jerry, tell us about those numbers of that Super Bowl.
It had an okay 126 million viewers.
Man, from that 126 million, I wonder how many of those millions boycotted. Well, we know one because he's sitting right here. But I don't think he boycotted because of the two teams.
I was just going to say, I don't think that was necessarily a boycott.
He just didn't want to watch.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like I knew the game would. Well, I thought the game would be good. That didn't even happen. But it was just I just didn't have interest in watching those teams play. But it wasn't, oh, well, I'm boycotting it.
Oh, he wasn't boycotted because of the two teams. He just, he had planned to boycott it beforehand.
Yeah,
like, nope.
I stopped watching a while back.
Yeah.
He decided he was going to boycott because the Packers didn't make it.
He said, Green Bay do better. Until you do better, I'm boycotting Super Bowls.
Once them and Baltimore were both out, I didn't really have a rooting interest. And when it's a Super Bowl, I sort of want a rooting interest since it's the last game of, the season.
But I guess the question I want to ask everyone, though, is why did this Super Bowl, in quotations I'm doing, boycott, why did it fail? Jerry?
Because Twitter, just like the IWC, is very much the minority, and they want to complain just to complain. There was never anybody that boycotted it. Those people that said they weren't going to watch, if somebody invited them over to watch the Super Bowl, they went over and watched the Super Bowl.
Hey, you don't know me.
They can deny it. Like there's probably like maybe 10-15% of the people that said they were going to boycott that actually boycotted it. But somebody actually went through and counted up the number because I think it came out to like 100K people on Twitter that said they were going to boycott it. 75% of them were Bills, Ravens, and Lions fans. And then the fourth place team, I think, was Pats fans. You weren't ever going to boycott it. You just wanted to be a part of the movement.
Right.
You just wanted to sound cool at school.
I guess I would have asked Logan, what's your thoughts on it?
I can't really say it any better than Jerry did. I think it was just more of an attention-seeking thing than it was really caring about the Super Bowl. And, most of the people that's like, I'm not going to watch it, the ones that wasn't fans of those teams are probably people that watch 5 to 6 NFL games a season anyway.
Right.
Well, you got to call me out like that. Red Zone's a great product, okay?
I watch Red Zone every week. Even
but did you guys hear Scott might be leaving Red Zone?
No way.
Yeah, I did see that today.
I saw an article yesterday.
NBC's trying to get him.
Yeah.
If he's going to get paid more, I'm not going to say.
Yeah,
if the homie gets paid, then
he
let it be.
It,
so,
but...
That's NFL Network should pay him, but I don't know if y'all listen to the Around the NFL podcast and all the shady contract negotiations that went on there.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, it was. That's actually where Chris Weston was from. So yeah, NFL's not a great company.
Since I'm the one that controls the bleep button on these episodes, I'm going to say this right now. NBC better back the up. Let that man stay on the NFL Network. And NFL Network needs to pay that man. Because
NBC doesn't need to back off. They just need to stay on to a certain extent to where he gets paid by the NFL.
Yeah, okay. I'll
exactly. NFL needs to step the up.
Yeah,
there's your blue button.
There you go. Oh, Brad.
It would be interesting to see somebody else in that role. Like I don't know. Obviously I don't want that, but I don't blame him if he leaves and then they put somebody in that role and hopefully that person is also really good. Because I think. Like, doesn't Ciliano do it as well?
He used to do it, but then they got rid of the DirecTV version of it. And
now I've never watched that version, so
Me either.
I wasn't sure, but I knew that he had a version of it.
I did back when he had DirecTV, and they always give was it week 1 for free, and so I would tune in then, and he's not terrible at it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like the man's no good at the job or whatnot. It's just compared to his version and Scott Hanson's version, you feel Scott Hanson's version. So silly already.
NBC should just move Red Zone onto NBC so I can finally get rid of my cable.
You don't want
I
that
think
price.
that's what they might do.
You don't
Thank
want that price
God.
they're gonna send out.
Whatever. I have your Peacock.
I
It's
mean,
nothing to me.
I don't know if
Very-
anyone has
very
YouTube
valid
TV.
point. I always want to get it, but like the price is supposedly moved up like every single season or almost every season to like a ridiculous amount. I think it's
I
like what,
know.
$80 a month or something now.
Yeah,
It's 83 a month
it's now
now.
83. When I got it 2 years ago, it was 51.
Yeah,
Right. It's
I can't
crazy.
do.
It's almost
I can't do
doubled.
that.
Like you literally might as well get cable now. Like it's
And
crazy.
we're losing Paramount also.
Yeah, they're losing more and more
just announced-
channels.
Yeah, no, I would have to cancel every single other streaming service
Mhm.
and solely use YouTube TV, and it just wouldn't be worth it.
I think Peacock and NBC could do it. And even if they raise Peacock's monthly price a little bit, I mean, look at Netflix and WWE. They're raising their price because of it, but it's not crazy for streaming, but it's not $80 a
Awful.
month
Yeah.
crazy.
Don't
Yeah.
remind me because it just hit me in the wallet this week.
Yeah,
Y'all just
it
reminded
got
me I
me
have
too.
to go back. Y'all just remind me I have to go back and I have to downgrade my YouTube TV subscription because
Yes, you're welcome.
they upgraded it for the Super Bowl. So I
Right.
you only have 3 streams going at a time, and I had 4 TVs in the house, so I
Oh,
upgraded it.
true.
I have to go back to down the normal package. Thank you guys. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you
that.
definitely want to drop that boy down.
SFU can help you with sports, and we also help you with your bills.
Yes, go
Yes.
fix your streaming services.
Oh, boy.
Oh man.
Barb, I'll ask you about the Super Bowl boycott to be anything you want to add?
No, because that'll just turn into something that's not appropriate for this podcast.
You
No, it's the same every year. You hear the same stupid voices. I'm boycotting the NFL, and it's from the same group of people every single year.
Yep.
And then every single year, they're still posting about their team's records, so you know they never actually boycott, and it's just to be loud, annoying douchebags.
I mean, to me, I feel like a point that was already mentioned was it was a good portion of the teams that didn't make it. Of course, you don't. When your team loses, the last thing you want to go do is watch another team sit there, stand up, hold a
But then you hate watch. Like a
Yep.
lot of those people did hate watch because they didn't want the Chiefs to win. It's the same as every Super Bowl that Brady was in. A large portion of those people that watched were hate watchers, hoping to see the man lose.
And then, of course, you had that aspect of those as well that were going to boycott the Super Bowl because you know who was going to be there. She's going to be in her
Right.
suite once again.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Honestly, it's more annoying to hear the internet complain about it. The networks, they show what, maybe 2 seconds at most before the
Well, okay, I want to see some numbers because we were talking about that during the game. Like during the games that they were doing horrible all season, not just the Super Bowl, but during the games that the Chiefs were underperforming, especially Travis, correlating to the numbers of how many times she was shown on TV. Like, let me see the numbers on those because, yeah, with the Super Bowl, it was hardly any at all. But it's because they were getting their ass beat the whole time. What are they going to do? Show her pissed? Like, maybe cussing? Like, why would you show that?
Somebody
Yeah.
counting up the numbers for last postseason, the entire run. And I think for the entirety of the postseason, she got maybe 2 minutes of screen time.
Yeah,
which was
it's
less
definitely
than like 1% of like screen time. So people that complain about her being
Yeah.
on the screen too much, you are taking like a minute out of 4 games and complaining.
right. I think it's just the amount of times it went to her. Even if it was only for 2 seconds, if it's 2 seconds 50 times, yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a long time, but you're still panning to her 50 different times. Like, stop.
I don't even
I mean,
remember them
she's
showing
also
her
not
during
the
the Super Bowl last
only-
year.
Famous person they show that's like a fan of a team. Like, yeah, like they show her, whatever you like consistently if you want to say. But like
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of famous people that are fans
Right.
of other teams that get shown all the time.
Well, and especially during the Super Bowl, there's a lot more celebrities that they're going to show. So
No.
obviously she's not going to get as much screen time. But obviously during a regular season game, what famous people are going to week 6 Chiefs games? Like, or the
I don't even
game that
think
it's-
she was going to week 6 deep game.
Right,
Yeah.
like minus 18 degrees. So the one that she happens to show up to, yeah, there's nobody else to freaking show.
Hey,
Like,
hey, we are not going to talk bad about Rob Rickleman, okay?
And them showing Taylor Swift at the ball games has dropped significantly too.
Yeah.
Like whenever she first started going, it was a lot, but it's
Yes,
kind of
definitely.
a big deal.
Last
'Cause it-
season was crazy, but it definitely toned down this year.
Nobody understood the love story behind that if they didn't listen to New Heights and
Okay.
Travis calling a shot. I'm just saying. The dude called a shot and he nailed it.
I love the
mean-
reference.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But I'm just
Okay,
saying, I love it.
undercover Swiftie.
She gets added to my playlist sometimes. I'm not just crazy
Yeah.
about her, but my autoplay pops up. I'm like,
Stand on
okay.
business. I respect it. I listen to her too. Stand
Yeah,
on
I mean,
business.
she's not bad. We all like good music.
DJ showed his feeling about the Swifties at the parade yesterday. So
You know, I'm gonna show my age here,
Oh boy.
Please do.
but I don't know what the hell y'all just said. Honestly, I was sitting here like, huh? What?
Okay, Grandpa,
Yes.
go get your
How many
freaking
times
8
we have to teach
tracks.
you this
Like,
lesson, old
shut
man?
up.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like I need a thing of insure at this point.
Oh man, that is definitely showing age right
Exactly.
there. Ensure out of all the options to say.
Exactly. That's what I built you, my boy. Extreme.
Oh man.
All right. So now let's talk about, since we're talking about Super Bowls and whatnot, let's talk about the aspects of building a championship team in the NFL. Brad, I'll start with you. What do you feel like is the important parts that an NFL team need to focus on when trying to build a championship roster?
So it's something the Eagles focus on, always have focused on as long as I've been a fan, is the trenches. I mean, the offensive, defensive line, they always spend high draft picks on getting D linemen, offensive linemen. You win there. And then obviously one of the best assistant coaches in the history of the game is on there with Jeff Stoutland, and he can take Jordan Mailata, who never didn't know how to buckle his helmet when he first showed up to the complex, to being one of the top left tackles in the NFL now. Offensive, defensive line play. I mean, if you can get to the quarterback, you can win. If you can protect your quarterback, even a below average quarterback can look, not saying Jalen's below average by any stretch, but you know what I mean. Even a below average quarterback can look good if he has time to go through his progressions, find his holes. And you saw what a great running back like Saquon can all of a sudden do when he has holes opened up for him. He goes from being a really good running back to almost breaking the NFL record. In the first season, he has road graders opening up holes in front of him. So line play is necessary.
What's another aspect that you would think, Logan, that you need for a successful championship NFL team?
I agree with Brad a lot. I've always been on the bandwagon of you don't need a top 3 quarterback to have a Super Bowl team. It helped, but a top 3 quarterback can turn into a below average starter really quick if he has no time to get the ball off.
Prescott.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm off. The trenches is
He said
where you
top
got to win
3.
the ball game.
Don't interrupt our guest, sir. No, you just
No, it's good. But Brad nailed it. I always like to see front 7 on defense is the main thing. I feel like you can really pick and place with the secondary a lot of the times, put guys where they fit, and maybe they get exposed, maybe they don't. But that front 7, getting to the quarterback, stopping the run, it's got to be a priority. I'd even say higher than a quarterback, because you just miss on quarterback so often. There's so many busts from the quarterback position, quote unquote. It's a lot easier to find these crazy athletic guys that can play in the front 7.
Keith, what do you think?
I think it's difficult to say that, and then I mean, obviously, like O-line play and D-line play is extremely important, but I do think that not every team can be built the same. Not every winner can be built the same way. Like there are obviously going to be some similarities, but I think it just depends on each specific team. Because like for the Eagles, for example, I don't think a bunch of teams can have their consistent D-line play like they do. Like I think a couple of seasons ago, they had like 70 sacks or something, and a lot of them came from the D-line. Like that's not something that teams should strive for it, but I don't think that they can consistently do it. So I would say it's more important to have more hits in the draft than misses, especially later rounds.
What are your thoughts, Jerry?
I'm going to be kind of boring. I think it starts with getting a good head coach and a good defensive coordinator, or a good head coach and a good offensive coordinator, whatever kind of head coach you hire, whatever side he specializes on. You got to have a good coordinator to combat your head coach. If you don't have a good defensive coordinator and you have an offensive head coach, your offense may be good, but your defense is going to suck. You're not going to win anything. I think that's part of what it made the Chiefs' recipe for success so good, is even though they do have Patrick Mahomes, they have Andy Reid and they have Steve Spagnuolo. Spagnuolo has a chance to be the first assistant coach to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think he'll have a shot for it. That's where you got to start. You got to have a good combination of head coach and coordinator, depending on which side of the ball the head coach specializes on. If you don't have that, you're probably gonna fail.
Sorry, Dallas.
Hey, look, I throw the Dallas digs in this episode around here, buddy.
I don't know why we're talking about Dallas. We don't have any Dallas fans in our house.
Exactly. You tell him, Jerry.
Fake.
No, he's a free agent fan.
That's right. Free agent.
He's just an NFL fan, like Rob Lowe, just always wearing his NFL
I
hat
said just
to
throw him the
everything.
NFL hat.
He's wearing around his NFL hat and his referee jersey all the time. He's a fan of the refs.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
Oh,
even
so
worse.
he's a team.
That's even
That's
worse.
a worse team than Dallas Cowboys. Like,
I'd rather be a fan of the Giants.
I was going
My
to say the
goodness.
Bengals.
Oh,
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, the Bengals for the refs. Yes. I get, but I that's the only thing I would add is that you've got to be able to manage how much you're paying certain positions to make sure okay, because like if you're giving all this money to a wide receiver that only is affecting one aspect of the game instead of the other positions as well as balancing the cap, that's big as well. Because I mean, what was it? I think it was a stat I saw that Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Wrong.
man, Jerry, your voice has gotten feminine now these days.
we don't judge.
We don't judge. I just want to know where he got that surgery at.
Ask Keith. He told me.
Going to Hollywood with that voice?
You'd be surprised what Denver holds.
But okay, it's something like teams with the highest paid wide receiver, they rarely make it to the Super Bowl. I can't remember exactly the numbers and whatnot because it's been a while since I saw the stat and whatnot. But I mean, there's more chances for teams with paid more on the defensive side than the offensive side, from what I read, that make it to the Super Bowl. But it's just basically about balancing the cap. Anything you want to add, Bob?
No. Actually, I want to congratulate Jerry on his great call from the last episode about Saquon.
Hey, I did hit that one on the target.
You did.
I
You
may have
did.
missed on everything else, but I hit that one right on the head.
You got that one.
So our next topic, Breakfast to the Reds. Oh, wait, that's next episode. Sorry. So show notes for the next episode.
Kush was about to lose his mind.
So I got
Let's welcome on our resident White Sox fan, Chris Gunther.
resident White Sox, Red Sox, Mariners.
Well, don't mention the Red Sox.
Oh, he's with you too.
No, he's not.
Brad, anything you want to add?
No, man. I mean, no, nothing really. I mean, we just talked in general, but going back to what you said about the cap bounce, and yeah, that's all well and good. You just need to find somebody like Howie Roseman where the cap just imaginary to him. He just finds ways to keep kicking it down the road. The cap doesn't exist if you're the right GM. So
That's true.
I'll tell you one person that cap exists to, Jerry Jones.
I mean, the bad side of that is then you try to become the Saints. Well, you don't try to become, but you end up being the Saints, where you do the same thing with the cap, but you're not actually good.
Hey, as long as you can win one or two, it's all that really matters.
That's true.
And
Throw that to the
Keep
Saints.
the fans happy for 100
The Saints
years.
just don't know how to win.
And that's the point, is you still got to win it too.
let's put it like this though. When was the last time the Saints won one? And when was the last time the Dallas Cowboys won one?
I was a wee child.
I mean, I was in high school for the Saints when they beat Indy.
When the last time the Dallas Cowboys won one, I was just learning my name was Eric.
I hadn't even reached preschool the last time they won one.
Exactly.
What year was it?
96, right?
Look, I might have been 8 or 9, but look, I was
I was just about
I was-
to say,
I-
Eric, I was 6, so you were older. I hope you knew your name by 10.
bro.
I wasn't even
back
born yet,
straight.
so
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah.
Oh, who said that? Oh my god.
I did, yeah.
Wait,
97.
did you say you
Oh.
were born in 96? What the hell?
No, I was born in 97. I know. It's wild.
Jerry, when were
Yeah.
you born? You weren't born yet either, were you? Yeah.
I put you like this.
Jerry still had 5 years to go.
Oh,
No, I had
know.
3.
I put you like this. The teacher could call
That's
me
insane.
Barbara. I would have answered it. I'm telling you, slow development. I did not know my name.
this man here committed to the bit.
That's right.
That's Virginia education for
Look, that's what a different podcast and a different time.
It's Louisiana education too.
But no matter what, I can tell you the aspects of being a championship podcast like we have here. It's our great fans. It's our great guests like Brad and Logan that I'd like to thank for coming on with us. And our great co-hosts. We got Barb, Jerry, and Keith. As always, I'm Eric. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. Until next time, Fanatics.